All right, so here we are with this 1990 Chevy Scottsdale. Two owners. Owner says it has about 60,000 miles. It's been sitting in this driveway for about 15 years. I believe it has a 350 5.7 liter. Although not 100% on that. No, actually, what we got here? 5.0 liter. So whichever engine that is, it's 5 liter. I've heard it run. I don't have the keys with me right now. He's at work, so I'm just checking over the body. Battery's dead from sitting. But I've heard it run. It runs well, drives well. Some more angles of the engine there. One thing right off the bat that I noticed, let me grab my flashlight here. So down in there by the radiator, there's what looks like a support beam that was cut at one point. I assume before he owned it. You can see, follow it up there, goes over to the left side of the frame. Yeah, it goes right here, this beam here. And it looks like it was cut right down there, and the other end's running into the frame here, and it's cut off a couple inches from the frame. I assume it was cut to put in this steering, or it broke on one end at one point and they sawzawed the other end. Not sure if that's going to be structural or an issue, but that's the support beam right there. Let me know. All right, so body wise, got some rust on our fenders here. It's a little crunchy, and then more solid as you get up here. Let's see. Rocker panels are pretty well toast. This is driver's side rocker panels, as expected. Cab corners too, yeah. Now the frame is what I really want to get your all's input on. I can see there's a lot of solid metal there. Got surface rust across the whole thing here. I've been tapping at it with a hammer. I haven't really found any weak spots on the frame itself. I know there can be frame inside, or sorry, rust inside the frame, but overall it feels pretty solid. I've just been going around whacking it with a hammer, kind of all around. All right, so cab mounts are pretty fucked. They'll need to all be replaced. The hangers for them, cab mount bushings will need to be replaced. The actual cab mounts, I went around and looked at all 4 of them. I haven't looked at the front ones yet. They seem to be solid except for this one on the driver's side. The actual bottom of the mount has come off. It doesn't look like the mount itself fell through. Hard to get an angle there, but you can still see the top of the bushing, so it hasn't collapsed through. There is a hole here in the hanger of the cab mount. I smacked around with it, a hammer. It doesn't seem to get any bigger than that. And you have a whole lot of hanger here for support, so I'm not too worried. This all felt pretty solid. But that hole there in the actual mount may be an issue. Moving down the frame, more rust. Otherwise feels solid. Let's look at these leaf springs. So leaf springs themselves, surface rust. It doesn't appears that all the brackets are connected. I don't see any issues there. Let's move around here to the rear fenders or the wheel wells. Got some rust here, crunchier towards the bottom, more solid from about here up. If I get it, that ugly ass cap is going to be the first thing I take off. All right, moving on to passenger side. More rust on the wheel wells. None up front on this front fender. So that looks pretty good. Same story with the rocker panels. Not as bad as the driver's side rocker panel. More towards the cab corner. Same story with the frame over here. It looks like there's some good metal surface rust covering all of it. This mount looks and feels solid aside from the bushing. The actual bed of the truck and the bottom of the cab are all solid. No rust or anything. Other cab mount here. This one might have broken through. Hard to tell. The mount itself looks good. I've seen some people where the bushing has broken through. They've taken a 3-inch washer and welded it onto the top there to create a new surface for the bushing to ride in. So that's always a possibility I can do. As far as the transmission support for the frame, it's a little bit rusty on this side. Everything feels solid with it. No sagging or anything. Another central frame support. Drive shaft, surface rust. Let's take a look at this rear diff. This is a 4-wheel drive K1500. Spare tires seen better days. Might be a little bit of fluid there on the diff. I can't tell. Looks a little wet at the bottom. Axles have rust, but no holes or anything. The leaf springs on this side are the same as the other. Surface rust. Not missing any brackets. Everything looks and appears solid. And hitch mount looks good. All right, well, let me know what you guys think of the frame condition. Odometer does read 60,000. 2 owners. So really main concern is that frame, if it's going to be a big issue going forward. I'm prepared to pay to have some things welded if I need to. But I guess I want to know if I'm getting in over my head or not as far as the cost this truck's going to take to not be a daily driver, just a hauler for, you know, trips to the dump and moving and things like that. Yeah, all within 50 to 100 miles. I'm going to sign off there. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Appreciate all the advice.